Last week, David Young got together with a big-name Republican to try to raise a little money. Majority Whip Kevin McCarthy joined Young for a fundraiser in his 3rd congressional district race. Now, the Iowa Democratic Party ripped on that event, saying that it shows Young is just another D.C. insider since he's hanging out with a top congressional Republican like McCarthy. Young, of course, you'll remember, served as Senator Chuck Grassley's chief of staff. I asked Young whether this criticism of being an insider is fair.
I'm very thankful for anybody who wants to come out and help me, raise funds. You need to raise funds to get the message out, and so that's what we're doing. Everybody does this.
Are you an insider?
I have insights into what's been going on in Washington, having worked for Iowa there, but I've always kept an outside Iowa perspective.
Clearly he was ready for the insider question, Jerry, but is it a tough thing for him to be so connected to D.C. right now? Does he kind of lose that edge as being, hey, I'm not a congressman?
I don't think so. I don't think it hurts him. He's not a member of Congress, which is more problematic. Frankly, and I understand the position state parties are in and having to, come with the party line and so on and so forth. But I get pretty tired, and I think the public does too, of, well, okay, in this race, we have the incumbent, so we say it's not a problem, and in this race they have the incumbent, so they say it's not a problem. I mean, really? I mean, how tiring is all that?
And honestly, who better to be associated with than Chuck Grassley? I mean, who better to learn from how to represent Iowans and keep your roots back here in Iowa? It's not a problem at all for David.
Last Sunday morning, we had Stacey Apple, the Democrat, on here. Here's just a snippet of how she was talking about what we should do with those undocumented children left on the border there and whether they should come to Iowa.
We need to solve the problem down at the border and find out who they are, how they got here, and what their status is. That's what we need to do first.
And that was her point of the morning. She kind of said that about 3 or 4 different ways, Jerry. Kind of waiting to see, we need to assess these children before we figure out their future. How do you assess Stacey Apple so far? That was her first appearance on our show. Frankly, she's kind of been under the radar as the Republicans duked it out in their little convention there. But what do you make of what she's done so far?
Well, I think the thing she has going for, and I've already said I didn't think the Young insider thing was a big deal, but what I think is a big deal is that the Republicans nominated somebody who got less than half the votes of Brad Zahn in the primary election. That is a problem, and I promise you, having been in this world a while, you lose some percentage of people who vote against you in the primary because they never forgive you for becoming the nominee, let alone the nominee other than at the ballot box. And so that's been the best thing Stacey has had going for her in the last couple of months. Plus, she's a prodigious fundraiser. So I think she's in good shape going into the race. I think it's one of the most interesting races to watch. Some people say, Bob, that this is going to be a totally nationalized race with one committee engaged in open warfare with the other. I'll tell you what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the two of them go around the district and make joint appearances, like 15 or 20 of them, and let you all cover it and flesh out their views on different things. I think that would be a much more interesting. Probably should have checked with Stacey before I said this.
We'll follow up with them. Bob, we're going to get to a break here, but I want to get your thoughts on the race here.
Oh, absolutely. I actually like Jerry's idea. I think when you see them, you'll see one is very representative of Iowa, and that's David Young. I am a big advocate of primaries. I think they make campaigns better, stronger, and David is full of energy and working very hard.
Okay, there's a race that we haven't talked hardly anything about. It's not nearly as sexy as the governor's race or one of the congressional races. Coming up next, though, we'll look into this quiet race, and these two gents here will say why you should start paying attention to this race. We'll do that next.